In this video, we're going to cover the various fitment options we offer in our bottom bracket range and how to select the correct version for your frame and chainset type. Our bottom bracket range consists of 10 different models. For each of these, we've selected the best premium grade steel and ceramic hybrid bearings, with our ceramic bearing option being awarded Best of Test in What Mountain Bike magazine, stating of all the ceramic bearing bottom brackets we've used, this has performed the best. We also carry in stock a range of replacement bottom bracket bearings, top hat seals, GXP adapters and other spare parts to keep your bottom brackets rolling for longer. You can even send the bottom bracket back to us for servicing, and with our direct to consumer supply chain, you're receiving the highest level of quality parts without the cost of distribution and retailer markups. Bikes come fitted with either threaded or press fit bottom brackets, and in time these will eventually wear out with use and need replacing. Finding the correct bottom bracket fitment is where the confusion can begin, as there have been several bottom bracket standards introduced over the years, and it's not always immediately obvious which type you have, as the cycle industry is taken to referring to the same bottom bracket standards by using different names on some models. So let's start going through the different bottom bracket standards that we offer. Our external BSA threaded bottom bracket range comprises of 4 different models. All of these use bottom bracket cups that are CNC machined from lightweight but strong 6061 alloy. This version is compatible with 24mm crank spindle diameter chain sets, which are used on Shimano Holotech 2 chain sets, as well as some models of race face, FSA and rotor. You have a choice of 2 bearing options with this bottom bracket, selecting between our premium carbon steel bearings or our award-winning ceramic hybrid bearings, which provide a lower rolling resistance with an increase in service life, higher corrosion resistance and lighter weight, plus 8 anodized colour finish options to choose from. This next bottom bracket is for use with SRAM and Truitive GXP chain sets, which use a 24mm crank spindle diameter on the drive side and a 22mm diameter on the non-drive side, and again is available in a choice of either steel or ceramic hybrid bearings, plus a choice of 8 anodized colour options. Next we have our SRAM dub compatible bottom bracket. Dub chain sets use a 28.99mm crank spindle diameter, which is said to offer greater stiffness than GXP bottom brackets, with the chain sets being typically lighter than BB30 setups. Again, these are available in 8 anodized colour options. Our last threaded bottom bracket is designed for use with BB30 chain sets. This size is used by SRAM with their BB30 cranks, Raceface Cinch, Hope, as well as some models of rotor and FSA cranks using a 30mm crank spindle diameter. Threaded bottom bracket shells have internal threads on both drive and non-drive sides of the frame, which the bottom bracket threads into to secure. Our threaded bottom brackets are designed for use with the most common standard, which is referred to as BSA or English thread. You'll need to measure the bottom bracket shell width for the correct spacer setup when installing one of our threaded bottom brackets, then reference this with the supplied instructions for the correct spacer setup. You can also find this information on the products page by clicking on the Downloads tab. The most common shell widths are 68 and 73mm, but can also be used minus the centre tube on both 83 and 100mm shell widths. The non-drive side or left-hand side of an English threaded bottom bracket shell uses a standard right-hand thread which tightens clockwise. The drive side or right-hand side of the frame uses the left-hand thread which tightens anti-clockwise. The bottom bracket cups are marked with either left or right, as well as displaying the tightening direction of the thread and the torque value that the cups need tightening to. The other information you can see on the cup makes reference to the bottom bracket shell's internal diameter, so you can see on this cup it's marked with 1.37 inch, or the metric equivalent, which is 35mm. Before fitting a new threaded external bottom bracket cup, the frame needs to be prepared, making sure the threads are cleaned and are free from dirt and debris. If after cleaning you notice any thread damage, or some of the threads don't display clean sharp edges, then we recommend taking your frame into a local bike shop to have the bottom bracket threads chased, which helps redefine the threads, minimising the risk of damaging your new bottom bracket. Our threaded bottom brackets have a dry thread lock pre-applied. For best results of this feature, these cups can be installed straight into the frame as they are. To help prevent corrosion and for ease of removal in the future, you can also opt to apply an anti-seize onto the bottom bracket shell threads. Using the supplied fitting instructions for reference, install any required spacers based on your shell width and thread the bottom bracket cup seam by hand at first, taking care not to cross thread. The drive side or right cup threading anti-clockwise, with the non-drive side or left cup threading clockwise. Tighten the cups into the frame by using a torque wrench set to the torque value which can be found on the bottom bracket cup. If you have an external threaded bottom bracket installed on your bike, you'll be able to see the tool fittings around the outside edge of the cup. For removal and installation of the Holotech 2 and SRAM GXP external threaded bottom brackets, these use a 16-notch 44mm outside diameter bottom bracket tool. Our SRAM dub compatible threaded bottom brackets use a 12.46mm outside diameter tool, with our 30mm threaded bottom brackets using a 16.49mm outside diameter tool. To establish which tool you need to fit your existing bottom bracket cups, first count the amount of tool fittings around the cup. This bottom bracket has 16 notches, for example. Next, measure the outside diameter of the bottom bracket cup. So the installation tool you need for this bottom bracket is a 16-notch 44mm outside diameter bottom bracket tool. Press fit bottom bracket shells don't feature any internal threading. Instead, you'll see a smooth bore which the bottom bracket presses into. Unless you already have this information available, the first thing we need to determine is the internal diameter of the bottom bracket shell. Our bottom brackets for the PF41 frame shells are referred to as BB86, BB89.5 and BB92, amongst other names these can be called. These numbers refer to the bottom bracket shell width in millimetres, not the internal shell diameter, which in this case is 41mm. Our PF41 compatible bottom brackets are available in different crank spindle diameters to suit different crank types, and these include 24mm, which is commonly used for the majority of Shimano chain sets, as well as other brands such as Raceface, FSA and Rotor. We offer a version that's compatible with SRAM and Truitive GXP chain sets. These use a 24mm spindle diameter on the drive side, which tapers down to 22mm on the non-drive side, and also for SRAM dub chain sets, which use a 28.99mm crank spindle diameter. The other press fit bottom bracket size we offer is PF46, which features a 46mm internal frame shell diameter. You'll also hear this size being referred to as press fit 30. These bottom bracket shell types can be found in shell widths ranging between 68 and 86mm, and we offer this bottom bracket type for 24mm spindle diameter chain sets, SRAM dub and 30mm spindle diameter options such as Raceface Cinch, Hope, as well as some models of FSA and Rotor. Make sure that the bottom bracket shell is clean and free from contamination before installing your new bottom bracket. For aluminium frames, you can use either anti-seize or grease on the internal shell surface. For carbon frames, we recommend checking with the manufacturer, as press fit bottom brackets are often installed without the use of anti-seize or grease. Adhesive retaining compounds can also be used in situations where voids need to be filled in uneven bottom bracket shells, but this can make future removal of the bottom bracket more difficult and can result in damage. Check the fitting guide and install any spacers as per the spec of your bottom bracket shell, and selecting the correct drift for the bottom bracket bearings, use a press to insert the cups into the bottom bracket shell until they sit flush with the frame. As installation and removal tools are specific to the bottom bracket size, of which there are several options to choose from, we would advise for you to take your frame into your local bike shop for your new bottom bracket to be installed. So thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video and found it informative, then please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to be sure not to miss out on any future uploads from us.